Welcome to the Smart Weight Loss Coaching Podcast. I'm Dr. Lisa Olson, a board-certified weight loss medicine specialist and certified life coach. In this podcast, I'll share fresh insights and effective techniques for incorporating mindset, habit change, and proven science into your life. Are you ready to achieve sustainable weight loss, wellness, and longevity? Then let's jump in and lose weight the smart way. Welcome back. I struggle with food desire as much as the next person. As I'm writing this, I just returned from an extended family get-together where everyone brought various foods to share. I brought a really delicious salad with grilled veggies and quinoa on top of mixed greens with a homemade vinaigrette. It was delicious, and a lot of people ate it, including me. And of course, there was no drama around the salad. Like many people at a big party, my drama was around the desserts. Oh my goodness, there were a lot of desserts, most of which were homemade and delicious looking. I'm sure I wasn't the only one thinking through a strategy to manage my desire to eat some of everything. Douglas Lyle is typically credited with describing what he called the motivational triad, which explains our brain's default wiring. We're designed to seek pleasure, avoid pain, and conserve energy. If you consider this in the context of food, it makes sense why we desire certain foods at certain times. In the case of my family party, I was simply seeking pleasure when I looked at that dessert table. If I think about my niece's boyfriend, who didn't know a lot of people at the party, perhaps he was looking at the dessert table to avoid pain. Not that the family party was painful for me, but it can be painful to be at someone else's family party, especially if you're an introvert. Seeking pleasure and avoiding pain make a lot of sense. How about conserving energy, the third part of the motivational triad? Let's step away from the party example and consider how we'd want to conserve energy after a busy day. We're not eager to go straight from work into the kitchen to cook a complex and healthy meal from scratch when we can find a faster and easier option. Maybe we'll pull a frozen pizza out for dinner, even though we know it doesn't align with our health or weight loss goals. We're looking for a hit of pleasure to provide some relief after dealing with challenges at work, and we're looking for convenience. Food companies are all too willing to come to our rescue by creating low-effort, hyper-palatable, fairly inexpensive foods. Often these foods contain ultra-processed ingredients hidden behind labels with exaggerated claims like all natural. At our family party today, I'm sure I wasn't the only one whose motivational triad was palpable, drawing me toward the dessert table to seek pleasure and to avoid the pain or discomfort of taking a pass when others were diving into the sweets. And of course, making a dessert plate is normalized when others are trying multiple desserts and encouraging each other to do the same. You know that I'm a believer that we find it easiest to manage our minds when we allow ourselves to have treats and occasional splurges, because food's role in our society is not purely for fuel. Sometimes we want to have happy foods as part of a celebration or a family event, or just for the joy of it. I eat pleasure foods too. We all do, or at least we all should. That's normal, reasonable, and culturally appropriate. But sometimes people mistakenly think they can have treats or splurges every day and still lose weight. I don't think so. Or at least it would be uncommon. In fact, it's pretty uncommon to maintain your weight over the long term when you're eating treats nearly every day, in my experience. If we want to manage our desire around pleasure foods or joy foods, we need to do a little decision-making ahead of time. I'm going to run through a 3-step plan that you can use in order to block that over-desire that drives us to chase pleasure foods. But first, let's take a quick listen to a word from our sponsor. Haha, just kidding. It's still me, Dr. Lisa Olson, founder of Smart Weight Loss Coaching. If you're as focused on your health as you are on the scale, you're my person. In my online program, we'll help you establish healthy habits for weight loss, better health, and longevity. For those of you who have looked at our website before, you'll be excited to see that you no longer have to commit to a 3-month program to join us. If you'd like to learn more about our affordable monthly membership, head over to smartweightlosscoaching.com. Welcome back. We were just talking about managing over-desire for sweets or other pleasure foods. When I talk about over-desire, I'm referring to a strong desire for a hyper-palatable, delicious food at an unplanned time, maybe in too large a dose, or perhaps in an ultra-processed format. A container of Oreos or a bag of candy is a highly processed, hyper-palatable food. You might want something sweet for dessert, but I'd argue that a homemade cookie or two made from sugar, butter, eggs, and so on is a better choice than some Oreos, because homemade cookies are made from real culinary ingredients and not a bunch of ultra-processed ingredients like the soy lecithin, artificial flavors, and high fructose corn syrup found in Oreos. I consider it over-desire if I'm drawn to the dessert table and want to put 5 different desserts on my plate. That quantity of dessert isn't necessary, even if I plan to have a dessert. It's also over-desire if it's 10 p.m. and I'm craving cookies entirely unrelated to hunger. So if you find yourself struggling with over-desire for anything, sweets, salty crunchy snacks, alcohol, screen time, or social media, you can use these 3 steps to rein it in. Step number 1, make all of your treat decisions ahead of time. All of them. I mean, we can handle that, and it's not restrictive or diety to say that you're not going to impulsively eat treats. Ideally, you should plan your treats about 24 hours ahead of time or more. I'm going to a conference this week, and I'm planning my treats in advance for that trip. I plan to have 1 glass of wine, maybe, but only if I go out to dinner with someone I know at the conference and they're having a drink too. Otherwise, I'm not having any wine. The other treat I'm planning is that if they serve a lemon bar as dessert at the conference, I'll have one, only if it looks really good. But I don't plan to have any other treats because it's actually not a special occasion. This is a work conference. I'd rather save my dessert or wine treat for when I'm back home with my family and friends. It doesn't matter if other people have dessert with lunch or dinner. I stumbled on that because I didn't know if I should say with lunch and dinner or with lunch or dinner. But honestly, at conferences, dessert is often served with every meal. Even breakfast looks like a dessert sometimes. It doesn't matter if wine is served at a social event on Friday night at the conference, or if I'm eating dinner in restaurants where the waiter asks for my drink order while I'm still looking at the menu. This conference isn't happening on my birthday, so I don't need to arrive in a state of over-desire. I'll manage my expectations by planning my treats in advance. So step 1 is to plan your treats ahead of time because that decision made with your prefrontal cortex, the higher thinking part of your brain, will be a better decision than the one you make impulsively. Step 2. Expect it to be uncomfortable when the impulsive part of your brain offers you the idea to eat a treat that's not part of your plan. Expect it to be uncomfortable and follow your plan anyway. The motivational triad drives us to avoid pain, and so you might be tempted to eat off plan just to avoid sitting with the discomfort of wanting a food and not eating it. But don't. And don't freak out just because something is uncomfortable. You're already adept at handling discomfort in other parts of your life. This isn't discomfort like stepping on a sharp piece of glass barefoot. This is more like realizing there's a tiny round pebble in your shoe that's mildly annoying. Expect it to be uncomfortable or annoying when you're faced with desire. Acknowledge what you feel and sit with that feeling. It won't hurt you. Just follow the plan you made in advance and don't make it harder than it has to be by negotiating with yourself about it. Step 3. Reward yourself with some positive reinforcement because behaviors that get rewarded get repeated. Even if it doesn't come naturally for you, dig deep to find some encouraging words. And even if you didn't nail it, reward yourself for trying. People often miss this critical step, but when you practice all 3 steps repeatedly, you'll start to notice that desire decreases. Your brain starts to learn that you're not going to eat impulsively off plan and that you're willing and able to handle the discomfort of an unanswered desire for a specific food. Your brain will chill out about dialing up food desire because you don't answer that call. You essentially extinguish future desires by not giving in to today's impulsive food cravings. To recap, step 1, plan your pleasure foods at least 24 hours in advance. Step 2, expect it to be hard to follow your plan when you find yourself wanting to eat something impulsively. Expect it to be uncomfortable, but do it anyway. And step 3, as you sit with the discomfort of not eating or drinking impulsively, remind yourself that you can do hard things and give yourself some positive reinforcement for your effort or your success. I'll give you a quick example that I faced a few days ago. My daughter asked me to take her out for an ice cream cone, and I did. It was a soft serve vanilla ice cream, and I'm sure I would have enjoyed it. But because I didn't plan it and I wanted to honor that plan, I didn't eat it. I knew it would be a little uncomfortable to watch her eating the ice cream, and it was. I sat across from her as she ate it, and I let myself sit with the desire without acting on it. I didn't take a taste when she offered one. I just sat there, acknowledging to myself that it looked tasty and that it was mildly unpleasant taking a pass on it, but also that I could handle the discomfort, which I did. The treat for me was hanging out with my daughter. And there was an additional treat, which was the high five I gave myself after not eating the ice cream impulsively. How about you? It's time to set your NBA, your next best action for today. How about making a specific plan for some sort of treat? Or maybe you want to plan in advance how you're going to coach yourself when you feel desire for an unplanned treat creeping up. Perhaps you're thinking about how you're going to encourage yourself with kind words as you practice the skill of sitting with desire without acting on it, which is one of the most useful tools in your weight loss toolbox. You've got this. Thanks so much for listening. If you'd like more support during your smart weight loss journey, check out our group coaching program at smartweightlosscoaching.com. Until next time, stay well and stay smart.